Yo, Tom Fiddzy here with my review of WandaVision episode 8. This episode was very different from what I was expecting it. All of the episodes of WandaVision have been different from what I was expecting, but this one in particular because I thought that we were going to be getting big witch on witch laser beam battles. I thought we were going to get Monica Rambeau joining in, showing off her powers. Wanda's red laser beams, her blue laser beams, Agatha Harkness's purple laser beams, Vision's yellow laser beams, Quicksilver running around. But no, instead we got a very personal story for Wanda, and we found out a lot of information, but not too much information as to how all of this fit together, and some big clues and some big mysteries about Wanda as well. So in this episode, Agatha, we find out that Agatha is, yes, she is Agatha Harkness, like the comics, she is an actual witch. We find out, though, that she was put on trial, like a witch burning situation way back in the past, the Salem witch trials, but she was being trialed by other witches. We find out that she kind of did like a, she was a fallen witch, a witch who kind of fell from the order. She went into the forbidden books. She was reading up about powers that she shouldn't be reading up about. She went a little bit rogue. She was drawn in by Darth Plagueis the Wise, that kind of thing, like the dark side is a pathway to many abilities some consider to be unnatural. I don't know why I went a little bit more Obi-Wan doing that, but anyway, so that's kind of what she was. It was a little bit hard to read her in this one in the past, because some of the stuff she was saying, like, I can't control it, it wasn't me, and then other times she was definitely fighting back. She had like a little bit of a smirk on her face, so a little bit hard to read her character in the past, and especially hard to read her character now as well. Definitely fluctuating, definitely still a lot of mystery around Agatha Harkness in the comics. She is an antagonist, so it's weird to see her here being very much portrayed as an antagonist. I'm pretty sure there is something else going on. So yeah, Agatha's still quite a lot of mystery. Is she really as bad as she seems? The thing in the past makes it seem like she was, but some of the stuff that she was saying makes it seem like she wasn't. How much of that stuff was she saying was truth? We find out why she still looks so young, even though she's really old, and that's because we saw her drain all of the powers from other people. Kind of confirms that what her base power is draining. There was a lot of speculation that the roots, the upside down Stranger Things style roots that she had growing around their basement and out into Wanda's world in Westview, that they are draining powers. So yeah, definitely that theory was correct, that she is draining powers, but to what extent, we still don't know. What she wants really with Wanda, we still don't truly know. It appears that she kind of turned up there of her own free will. She wasn't orchestrating it all, I don't know if you're like me. How many of you had the Agatha Harkness theme tune stuck in your head for the last week? But yeah, it turns out that even though it was Agatha all along with all of the stuff that was going on in the show, it wasn't Agatha all along for why the show was created, why the Hex was created. That was all, from the looks of it so far, Wanda. But if you know anything about TV, if you know anything about comics, there's always a bigger fish. So there's probably still maybe somebody else going on, and as I said, we still haven't fully got the agenda as to what Agatha wants, apart from her trying to figure out the mystery of where did you get this power, Wanda? And that's what this episode was about. It was, where did Wanda get her powers? Now, it wasn't truly announced, but I'm sure we will get into it. I've already got some kind of thoughts going on. Remember the advert last time, the Nexus being that, I forgot to mention last week, that heavily ties into Wanda's character, because the thing Nexus, the name that was on the gum, or no, the tablets, Nexus, Wanda is a Nexus being. That means that she's like kind of the same. She's true across all universes. There is always a Wanda in every universe. Quite how that makes sense, if there's a universe where everything is marshmallows, would that mean that everything is marshmallows and then there's still a Wanda? How exactly does that work? But yeah, so Nexus being could maybe link into how Wanda got her power. So let's talk about that. We go back in all of the flashbacks, and there are hints, subtle hints, that maybe Wanda actually had her powers all along. We know that magic is a real thing, or like magic tapping into like the powers of other dimensions and stuff is a real thing in the Marvel universe. So it seems like maybe Wanda actually had a talent for that anyway, because we saw her as a kid with her family, with her brother, with not Magneto Dad. They were watching box sets of all of the shows that WandaVision has been based on. There you go, all of the people that were speculating that Wanda grew up watching these shows. Correct, you got all of that right. She did grow up watching all of those shows. It was very important to her. It's how she learned English. And that is her fond memories of how she spent time with her family and spent time with Vision, as we see later on. And also, you know, how she escaped from being one of Von Strucker's experiments and stuff. So TV has always been there to support her in her life, and that's why when she reaches this point at the end where she's lost everything again, she falls back to TV and makes her own TV world. So there you go. The people that got that right, well done. It wasn't, you know, she wasn't put in there being controlled by someone. Maybe. Again, we still don't know. So we get a flashback there, and it's hinted that maybe she had some powers. And then we go to the next thing where we see her get her powers, or at least, you know, remember it was told that Wanda got her powers from Loki's staff. But here we see it. It's almost like Loki's staff kind of resonated with her and kind of like chose her. And then we see this thing come out of the stone, and it kind of looks like Wanda, and it's wearing Wanda's comic book uniform. And at the end, we find out a reveal from Agatha Harkness that you, Wanda, you're not just like someone who got powers from the Infinity Stone, from the Mind Stone. You are a chaos magic user. You are a Scarlet Witch. We get the name drop. Finally, they made a big emphasis earlier on in this series about the fact that Wanda doesn't have like an alias, you know, like what's your alias? Here we get it confirmed. She is the Scarlet Witch. We saw the comic book uniform. It looks like we are going to be getting comic book Wanda Maximoff, comic book Scarlet Witch a lot more in the future, and that was really cool. And maybe as well, this stuff, like I speculated before, that maybe mutants are going to be created by what Wanda's doing. We definitely get confirmation here, not conservation. We should have conservation, but we get confirmation here that Wanda is 100% creating things. She is a being. She has powers that can create things like out of nothing. So yeah, we get confirmation here, and it does seem that she created her kids, and something very interesting with Vision that we'll talk about as well in a little bit. And she created all of that world, so it is therefore possible that she can create the mutant gene, and she can create the mutants. We've seen that her powers have given Monica Rambeau her powers, but I was mainly speculating that her hex, her powers will create the mutants. But then in this episode, the fact that she kind of had innate abilities, is that maybe a hint that mutants were already around, or was that just purely connected to the magic? Something to think about. Maybe let me know your thoughts in the comments below, how mutants will get into the MCU. Is it going to be created by Wanda, or are they going to imply that they were actually already here all along, and Wanda was actually one of them, even though she wasn't Magneto's daughter? She was fake Magneto's daughter, DVD Magneto's daughter. So then we keep going forward, and we get to the scene where we find out that, yeah, Wanda has created everything. And interestingly, she never actually stole Vision from Sword. So we saw footage of her stealing it, but no, she didn't. The director lied, and the director definitely has his own agenda. His own agenda was to create Vision, not create Vision, to bring Vision back, I should say. Sorry about that. To bring Vision back, because there's a big difference, because Wanda did create a Vision. So now there are two Visions. There's like plain white, kind of like he was in the comics for a little bit, plain white Vision that the Sword director made, and then there's the Vision that's like the normal color one that we're used to seeing in the actual Hex world, who's going a little bit rogue. So are we going to get like a Vision on Vision battle? Like the original Vision, which is now the white Vision, is that like a good Vision? And the one that Wanda created, is that going to be like a bad one? Because we saw he was going a little bit off the rails, and he was questioning, and he was like, Wanda killed me. And he's like, I don't know who I am. But is this other one going to have memories of Wanda? Because this new one doesn't have any memories of Wanda before. So that's very interesting. Vision on Vision battle. Is this going to lead to something else? Is this going to bring back Ultron or something crazy, or somebody else? Like I said, there could be another big bad. Is just the big bad the Sword director? He definitely led Wanda on to go down into that room to see Vision. You know, he was definitely planting thoughts in her head, like, you know, he did that classic villain thing where he just said that one sentence too much, you know, just shut up. But no, he said one sentence too much and that pushed her over the edge. But the most interesting thing was that she didn't steal Vision, she created Vision. How much of a creation is he as well is a big mystery. We saw that he couldn't leave the Hex. Is the Infinity Stone in him a brand new one? Because Agatha seems pretty worried about the fact that her powers are so dangerous because she can just create things. So did she just create an Infinity Stone again? Is this how the Infinity Stones are going to come back and lead to other potential baddies seeking them out and stuff in the future? Is this why WandaVision is so pivotal to the MCU? Not just because it's going to get us into the multiverse, not just get us into mutants, but it's also going to bring back some of the stuff that was lost and bring more attention into Earth. You know, is Wanda and the Scarlet Witches going to be a big focal point now for villains? You know, we're going to get like a villain at the end credit scene. There was another mid-credit scene in this episode as well. I should have actually done a spoiler warning because it was the White Vision. I assume after last week, all learned that yes, there are now actually mid-credit scenes in WandaVision. But yeah, so is this now going to be another moment where other bad guys out there are going to be like, did you hear about Earth? They got someone that can create anything out of nothing, and be like, oh, good, this is what I want. I got a shopping list, and then they're all going to head to Earth. So yeah, now I think we are finding out why WandaVision, why Wanda in particular, is so important now to the MCU. Very hyped for the next few the next episode. There is a rumor that there might be one more episode, but the next episode in particular, I expect it to be quite a long one. This was like 40 minutes, and even though it was 40 minutes, it went very quickly. So I'm expecting next week maybe an hour or so, because there's still a lot of questions, a lot of stuff to get through. We've got Monica Rambeau, we've got Quicksilver. We find out that Quicksilver was fake, but we don't actually find out kind of what he really is. Was he still pulled from another dimension? Necromancy was brought up, and we find out, you know, we did find out in the past that this Quicksilver also died in an alley, or was it just somebody else, like a normal person that died in an alley? I hope that they didn't just use the X-Men one, and it's just a coincidence that it looked like the one from the old X-Men from the Fox universe. I would really like it if this was our first confirmed character from another dimension, using the old films and bringing them into the main one and into the main cast. So yeah, still big questions about Quicksilver. I hope it wasn't just, hey, it was just an extra. And a lot of questions still about Agatha Harkness. How bad or how good is she actually in the long run? Is there still another foe hiding in the background, or is it just a sword agent? Is what Vision is going to be a bad guy? Are they both going to be good guys? What's going on with the fact that there are now two Visions? What could that mean? And so many other questions. Still haven't got confirmation on the kids. So yeah, it was a good episode for questions overall. Because it went quite quick, I was a little bit disappointed because it got to the end. I was like, was that it? But overall, still a very good episode. Definitely got me speaking. Probably my longest video so far. And any more other thoughts? Other thoughts was it's okay. Westview was a shithole before. You could see it was all dilapidated. So you could argue that the people are maybe happier at the moment in the Hex that Wanda created. It rejuvenated the town. You know, Quicksilver said, hey, people are happy. People have jobs. And we saw that it was falling apart at the beat in this episode. So yeah, Vision was the one who gave Wanda the house as a gift, even though it wasn't finished being built. Vision, what you doing? I'm guessing he was gonna build a house, and you know he was meant to give it to her while he was still alive as like a present, and he hadn't finished making it. But it was just signed V. Maybe somebody else signed that. Who in the comics is the name V? That's like a bad guy or something. Yeah, I'm sure there'll be all theories about who's the V. And Bryan Cranston is in the MCU, confirmed, but in Malcolm in the Middle. So I hope this doesn't rule out ever having Bryan Cranston cast in the MCU as a different character now, because he's been in there as a character in a TV show. So yeah, I still would love to have Bryan Cranston in it. If he was in it, I'd hope that is reference at the fact, hey, you look like the guy from Malcolm in the Middle. So yeah, it's always a delight to see Bryan Cranston. So yeah, next week, Let's get more vision on vision. Let's get the laser beams flying. Let's get some truths about Agatha Harkness. Let's get more Bryan Cranston. I've been Tom Fiddzy. Let me know down in the comments what you thought of this episode. What are your speculation going into the presumably last episode? And then off into the next series of Marvel films as well. Bye!